this 7th module, we switch away from prevention strategies and turn the focus to the collection of information on behavior to use as an evaluation of our instructional strategies. Technically, data is required only to answer specific questions. Did pushing in the hallway decrease? Were fewer problems noted in the cafeteria at noon? Or have incidents of fighting after school decreased? However, if we collect data only on the issues that have been a problem in the past, we have no continuous data regarding other potential problems. It makes more sense to collect data on behavior in a more comprehensive manner, noting the who, what, when, and where of all observed problems. An effective monitoring system begins with agreement as to the definitions of behavior. What exactly is a fight? At what speed is a student considered running? At what decibel level would a student's voice be too loud? These definition issues are important not only for data collection, but also for instruction. We have to be certain that we are all teaching students the same behaviors and understand that instruction will require a clear rule and the ability to model. The first step in developing a monitoring system is to define the behaviors that are to be monitored. Clearly, some limits have to be set with regard to the level of behavior warranting data collection. We likely are not interested in the random audible belch in the hallway or with the number of incidents of students not smiling when greeting one another. While one could probably make a case for the importance of these behaviors, we simply have to draw the line somewhere, or the number of behaviors being recorded will be unwieldy.
With my school, they all came together and we identified a list of all the behaviors that we might see. And then with stickers, we all came to an understanding, or a collective understanding, what is a tier 1? Those are the green stickers. This is what we all agree is a tier 1 type of behavior that you'll see in classrooms or throughout the school. And then yellow, what's a tier 2 behavior? And then the red, which is what we wouldn't see too often, those are our tier 3s, but we were all under a common understanding of when those occur, what type of actions take place.
We looked at it through a different lens and noticed that there were 875 students that had never received a referral. So we implemented a positive reward system, the positive celebration, where we took those students who had never received a referral and we did hip hop on the lawn, we just did fun activities for the second half of the day, and then the students who fell under the referral piece got a mentor. They went into mentor groups of what happened, how do you feel, and had more conversations about how they can have a better year in the next upcoming year.
A rule of thumb for considering time is to create assessment and evaluation systems that take no more than 1% of anyone's time on a daily basis. This simplicity starts with the development of a collection form. Considerations for the development of an effective behavior monitoring form revolve around accuracy and simplicity. For simplicity, it's best to have the form all on one page, to require as little writing as possible, and to limit the amount of information, focusing only on what's most important. For accuracy, everyone needs to use the form in the same way and agree on the definitions of problem behavior. Here's one example of a monitoring form. Note that this form is mostly check marks, making it simple to complete quickly. In addition, it includes only those behaviors that warrant tracking, with an other category for less frequent behaviors. Importantly, this form is small, size of the palm of a hand, and done front and back. Thus, it is easy for adults to carry around. Finally, note that the form is labeled as both a report and a referral. The report function of the form refers to recording of behaviors that are not office managed but still meet a standard high enough to warrant recording. This is simply data for a database, and reports do not go into a student's permanent file. The referral function of the form refers to recording of behaviors that are office managed, wherein an adult refers a student to the administrator and uses the form as a summary of the observed misbehavior. The bottom of the second page is completed by the administrator, and the form is kept in the student's permanent file as a record of a major offense. Collecting accurate data is only the first step in evaluating the effect of PBIS strategies. The next step is to have a process for making sure that this information is relayed to a central location and entered into a school-wide database for PBIS. This can be done in a number of ways, depending upon what the school sees as the simplest and most logical.
As a faculty, we put together a behavioral flow chart, and it was in tiered systems, tier 1 behaviors, tier 2, tier 3, and everybody spoke on what those would look like. And from there, everybody gave input on what worked for them when this tier behavior occurred. And once that was put together, we laminated, put on a hard sheet paper, and passed it out to all the teachers. They carried it out, and it actually helped out on behavior a lot.
Officially, we have our flow chart so that teachers know what specific steps to take before they contact the office and write the referral. We always encourage, obviously, positive relationships, but if they need further interventions, then we always encourage teachers to use a classroom buddy before they use the office.
We have 2 different color forms. So if it's a kid that just needs to go to a buddy room or does not need the administration involved, it's a blue color form that's filled out. So we still track that data and see how many times a certain student is being sent out just for a break, because that can lead to other things if it's consistent. And then we have a different color form if administration needs to get involved and it's a referral, it's a more serious offense. So those are turned into our behavior team daily, and then we track it that way.
At a previous high school that I was at, we actually made a survey, an online survey that teachers took where they could identify what types of behaviors they felt like they should be responsible for managing in the classroom, which one should go to the office, a referral should go to the office, and which one the kid just needs to go to the office right away. So that gave them an opportunity to even see very quickly, when we just could compile that data, that what the rest of their peers thought and what percentage of teachers thought this, that, or the other, and gave them opportunities to have some of those discussions in smaller groups to help them kind of think through some of those issues.
I worked at a school where we used a Google form instead of the paper referral, and the intent behind that was to make it easily accessible for teachers to go in and just say, this is the location, this is the day, this is the time, this is the student, this is what happened, instead of having to fill out all the paper pencil, and they hit submit, and then the PLC team, the administrative team, the leadership team, the PBIS team, anyone can look at that data and they can manipulate it in any way that they want. They can do an Excel sheet, they can look at graphs, they can look at hotspot locations, they can look at frequent flyers of students, even down to the time of day. You know, if Amy is having an issue at lunch every single day at noon, what's going on with Amy at that time? So it can personalize it as well.
Of course, the reason for gathering any of this data in the first place is so that we can analyze it to evaluate the effect of our instruction, the rules, routines, and arrangements we collectively developed. Getting this data into the database is a simple process. For example, the team can ask all stakeholders to turn in their referrals at the time a student is referred to the office and to turn in all reports for the week by Friday afternoon. A box in the office is designated for reports, and stakeholders may toss completed reports in as they occur throughout the week, or may save them up and toss them all in at once at the end of the week. Once all the reports are submitted, a designated person transfers the information from all referrals and reports that week into a spreadsheet by simply typing a name and making tally marks. When data is collected into a central database, it can be easily converted to graphs. Looking at data graphically is the easiest way to get a quick view of progress and relationships between different variables.
So I'm in a middle school, and in our setting, 6th, 7th, and 8th, we're very small. And so we have our assistant principal, our counselor, and then our PBIS team. And so kind of the data collection and reporting, it's it's pretty much those three entities. Those reports that are written by teachers, they get inputted by our assistant principal. The counselor reads those and sees what he needs to follow up on in terms of student support, and then that's all put together for our team to review at our monthly meeting.
So then, once the behavior team receives those forms, they put those onto Infinite Campus for us to track the data.
It's also looking at data together and finding those successes. I think once you find those successes, then that keeps the momentum going to continue with the fidelity bright spots.
Since PBIS was implemented at our school, we've seen a reduction in the number of referrals school-wide. We also have universal terminology and language and expectations that everybody knows, that everybody can say the same thing when they refer to a situation or an issue or even something they want to see happen with students. They can use the same verbiage for that.
Remember, the whole purpose of collecting data is to answer the key questions that the team will have at each monthly meeting. How are we doing on our goals? What new problems have become apparent? And what students require further consideration to prevent failure? There's still one more step, but before we go there, take some time to consider a few points with regard to monitoring and analyzing behavior. First, consider whether your faculty and staff agree on the definitions of common misbehaviors, and if not, how might you get them together for this discussion? Second, consider your behavior monitoring form and the procedure for collecting the information. Are these as simple and consistent as possible?